Let me tell you something my mentor told me many years ago that changed my life forever. He said, Jim, you don't need to overhaul your entire life in a day to become wealthy. You just need to improve by 1% each day. At first, I thought he was just making it sound easy to motivate me, like all those simple slogans people throw around to get you moving. But as I practiced it, I realized he was telling me the secret formula to multiply my income beyond my imagination. I realized that this wasn't just motivational fluff. This was a fundamental law of life. Because the truth is, success is not built in massive leaps that exhaust you and then leave you burnt out. Success is built in small, quiet, hidden steps that compound invisibly. If you wake up tomorrow and try to change everything about your life in one day, you will overwhelm yourself, fail to sustain it, and end up back where you started, filled with guilt and self-loathing. But if you wake up tomorrow and commit to doing one small thing better than you did today, and do that again the next day, and the next, then in a year or two, your friends won't recognize you. That's the secret formula my mentor gave me, and it has never failed me. Think about it like this. If you tried to lift 500 pounds today, you'd break your back and maybe your spirit along with it. But if you lifted just 1 pound more than you lifted yesterday and did that consistently, day after day, week after week, it wouldn't be long before you're lifting 500 pounds with ease and with a smile. That's how life works, or that's how income works, that's how value works. Most people look at the top of the mountain and think, I could never climb that. And they're right, they could never climb it in a single day. But if they walk just a little bit up the trail each morning without worrying about the peak, just one small stretch at a time, they would one day wake up and realize they are standing on the summit, enjoying a sunrise few will ever see. This is why people get discouraged. They look at the full picture and forget that it's built pixel by pixel, stroke by stroke, brick by brick, moment by moment. Income is a direct reflection of your value to the marketplace. And value isn't built overnight, no matter how loudly the world sells you quick fix schemes and overnight success formulas. It's built in layers, like a brick wall, one brick at a time, patiently and purposefully laid down with precision. One skill at a time, one discipline at a time, one courageous decision at a time. That is the essence of the 1% formula. It is the discipline to lay down a brick so well today that it becomes the foundation for the next brick tomorrow. You can't stack bricks on top of air. You need a stable layer to support the next. And that is why most people fail. They are in a hurry to stack the bricks of income, cars, and status before they've laid the bricks of skill, knowledge, character, and discipline. The 1% formula builds an unshakable wall of value that stands through economic storms and personal struggles alike. People often ask me, Jim, what does 1% improvement look like practically? They imagine I'm asking them to overhaul their habits, start waking up at 4 a.m., meditate for an hour, run 10 miles, read a whole book, and conquer the world before breakfast. No, that's not what I mean. Tell them. It's as simple as reading 10 pages of a good book today when you read nothing yesterday. It's as simple as making one extra phone call if you're in sales. It's as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier to plan your day better so you're not reactive all day long. 1% is not about dramatic heroics. It is about small, deliberate improvements that are sustainable and compounding. If you add just one new vocabulary word each day, imagine your speech and confidence in a year. If you greet just one more stranger with a smile each day, imagine the warmth of your presence in a year. It is the small hinges that swing big doors. You see, my friends, the problem is not that people aim too high and miss. No, that's rarely the problem. The problem is they aim too low and hit. Or worse, they don't aim at all. They wander through life like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave of circumstance, every wind of opinion, never steering toward any port with clarity or purpose. The 1% formula gives you something achievable to aim at every single day. It gives you a clear target to shoot at, however small it looks. And before you know it, your life looks unrecognizable. You look back 6 months later and think, how did I get here? The answer is simple. You stopped drifting and started steering, one small angle of correction at a time. That's how ships cross oceans. And that's how lives cross from poverty to prosperity, from confusion to clarity, from mediocrity to mastery. When I first heard this idea, I was broke, skinny, and embarrassed. I felt like I was invisible to success, unnoticed by opportunity, and undeserving of abundance. But I decided to try it because, honestly, I had nothing to lose. I started listening to Earl Schoff's recordings for just 10 minutes a day while driving my old beat-up car to appointments. I started writing my goals down for just 5 minutes each morning before I left my tiny apartment. I started calling one extra prospect each afternoon, even though I was terrified of rejection. And what happened? My income doubled, tripled, and then multiplied beyond what I could imagine. But beyond the money, I multiplied my confidence. I multiplied my faith in myself. I multiplied my dreams. And I began to walk with the dignity of a man who knew he was becoming better each day, even if the world hadn't noticed it yet. Why does it work? Because most people live their lives at 99% the same every day. They wake up to the same alarm, brush their teeth with the same thoughts running through their heads, complain about the same job, take the same route to work, do the same tasks in the same way, come home tired, eat the same meals, watch the same shows, scroll their phones with the same lifeless curiosity, go to bed at the same time, and repeat over and over, year after year. But if you become the person who injects just 1% of new growth each day, you become an outlier in no time. Because growth is rare, improvement is rare. Most people are sleepwalking through life, trapped in cycles of sameness. The moment you step out of that cycle, you begin rising above the crowd without even trying to compete with them. Let me tell you another secret about the 1% formula. The magic is not just in the small improvement itself. The real magic is in the compounding effect. Just like money compounds when you invest it wisely and let it grow untouched, your skills, your mindset, and your disciplines compound when you grow them daily without interruption. Imagine this. If you save $10,000 at a 10% annual interest and never touched it, in a few decades it turns into hundreds of thousands, not because you added anything, but because you let the compounding process do its work. Likewise, if you become 1% better at speaking today and 1% better again tomorrow, your confidence, your opportunities, and your influence don't just add up, they multiply exponentially, opening doors you never even knew existed. If you improve by 1% every day for a year, you wouldn't just be 365% better. The mathematics of compounding says you'd be 37 times better than when you started. Think about that. Not 37% better, 37 times better. That's how legends are built. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary in their field. That's how someone goes from broke to millionaire. From fearful to fearless, from invisible to impactful. Because while the world is busy applauding the overnight success, they never see the quiet compounding of daily improvements that built that success behind closed doors. That's what you need to remember. Success is built in secret and revealed in public. The 1% formula is the secret path to that revelation. But here's the catch. Most people hear this and get excited for a week. They start waking up early with fresh motivation, reading books with a pen in hand, working harder with determination. But when they don't see immediate results after 7 days, they quit. They say, "This doesn't work." That's like planting seeds today and walking out tomorrow morning with a basket in your hand asking, "Where's my harvest?" The universe doesn't operate on your impatience. It operates on timeless laws of sowing and reaping. If you plant a mango seed today and dig it up tomorrow in frustration, it will never bear fruit. But if you keep watering it, keep protecting it from weeds, keep nurturing it in faith, you'll one day sit under its shade and eat its fruit for years to come. The 1% formula requires patience, consistency, and faith. Patience, because results take time to reveal themselves, like seeds take time to sprout through the soil. Consistency, because if you water your plant today and forget it for a week, it dies. Faith, because you need to keep investing effort before seeing any sign of life. You need to keep watering your seeds even when the ground looks dry. You need to keep improving your skills even when no one claps for you. You need to keep adding value even when no one notices yet, because what you're doing is building silent wealth within yourself. You are becoming the type of person who no longer depends on luck or external rescue, because you have become your own bank of solutions. The person who practices the 1% formula is silently becoming powerful, like an oak tree growing underground before it ever emerges to the sun. And one day, the world will look at you and say, "Where did he come from?" But you will know you were there all along, building quietly while they were distracted. I always say, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And the beauty is, the 1% formula is how you become better without overwhelming yourself into paralysis. Because when you become better, everything else becomes easier. Your problems become smaller, not because they have reduced, but because you have grown. Your confidence becomes stronger, not because the world has praised you, but because you have proven to yourself day after day that you can keep promises to yourself. Your income multiplies, not because the economy has changed, but because you have changed. You see, wishing for an easier life is a prayer that keeps you dependent. But wishing to become a better person is a prayer that transforms you into a creator, a leader, a solution bringer, someone people seek out when the storms come. One of my students once told me, "Jim, I don't have time for 1% improvements every day." I smiled and said, "My friend, you don't have time not to. Because every day you don't grow is a day you fall behind." The world is moving fast. Technology is changing. Markets are changing. Competitors are upgrading. And if you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not improving, you're decaying. There is no neutral ground in life. Think of a river. If you're not rowing upstream, you're drifting downstream, whether you realize it or not. That is why the 1% formula is not just a success strategy, it is a survival strategy. It is the way to stay relevant, valuable, and confident in a world that rewards speed, efficiency, and mastery. Even 15 minutes of improvement each day is better than no improvement for weeks or months, because your little daily improvements are like drops filling a bucket. One day the bucket overflows. Here's a practical tip. Pick 3 areas of your life you want to multiply. For most people, these are income, relationships, and health, the pillars that define your stability and joy. Now, write down one small thing you can do each day to improve each of these areas by 1%. It doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent. Ask yourself every morning, what can I do today that is just slightly better than what I did yesterday in these areas? Write it down, commit to it, and do it before the sun sets. This simple daily discipline will create a sense of momentum in your life that no motivational video can give you. Because you are not just thinking or wishing anymore. You are acting. And actions compound far more powerfully than intentions. For your income, it could be learning one new sales objection response. Imagine how that would equip you to close more deals over time. For your relationships, it could be sending a short voice note of appreciation to someone you care about. Imagine how that would deepen your bonds and grow your network of support. For your health, it could be drinking an extra glass of water each day. Imagine how that would cleanse your body over months. Small hinges swing big doors. Never underestimate the power of small, consistent disciplines. Because while everyone else is trying to kick down the door with brute force, you will simply turn the small hinge of daily growth and walk through with dignity and grace. Most people are looking for the big breakthrough. They're waiting for the one meeting, the one client, the one viral idea that will explode their income overnight and solve all their problems in a flash. But I'm telling you today, the real breakthrough is the 1% improvement you choose to make daily, because that is under your control. The world may never give you the perfect opportunity. Luck may never knock loudly enough for you to hear it. But your daily improvements do not need anyone's permission. You can begin today right where you are with what you have exactly as you are. That is the breakthrough. Consistent small actions that build unstoppable momentum. Let me share a story with you. When I started in sales, I was terrified of rejection. The idea of calling a stranger and pitching to them made my palms sweat and my heart race. I would fumble my words, avoid phone calls, procrastinate all morning, and miss opportunities day after day. One day my mentor sat me down and said, "Jim, you don't need to become fearless overnight, or just make one more call than you're comfortable with each day." It sounded too simple, but I tried it. The first day I made one extra call and felt like a champion. The next day I made another. Each day I stretched just a little further outside my comfort zone. Within a year I was making hundreds of calls without blinking an eye, closing deals I once thought were out of my league, and building a reputation as one of the most courageous closers in the company. That 1% courage built a fortune for me. That's how I became a millionaire by age 31. Not because I was smarter than everyone else, not because I had better products than anyone else, but because I kept getting 1% better at selling them, 1% better at presenting them, and 1% better at believing in myself every single day. That's the secret, my friend. Success is not about giant leaps or massive risks that terrify you into inaction. Success is about small daily improvements that transform you into a person who can handle, attract, and multiply every blessing that comes your way. Remember this, if you commit to becoming 1% better every single day, there will come a time when you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the man staring back at you. You will have become someone you once admired from afar. Some of you are sitting there thinking, "Jim, I don't even know where to start." That's okay. Start by asking yourself, what am I doing today that I can do slightly better tomorrow? It could be waking up earlier, reading for 5 minutes, doing 10 push-ups, or listening to one motivational speech. One of the greatest tragedies is that people die with their potential still inside them because they waited for the right time to overhaul their lives instead of becoming 1% better today. Remember, the right time never comes. You create it with your daily decisions. Here's another thing. The 1% formula works because it keeps your ego out of the way. When you try to change everything at once, your ego gets overwhelmed and resists. But when you focus on just a 1% change, it flies under the radar of your excuses. Your subconscious accepts it. That's why it's powerful. Let me tell you, success is not about massive action once a year. It's about consistent, small, disciplined actions every day. You don't get fit by going to the gym for 9 hours once a month. You get fit by going for 30 minutes 5 times a week. The same is true with your wealth. I want you to imagine your future self 5 years from now. What would happen if you started applying the 1% formula today and never stopped? How would your bank account look? How would your health feel? How would your confidence shine? That vision is within your reach, my friends, but it begins today, right now. After listening to this, write down what your 1% growth will be today. Don't wait for tomorrow, because if you can't do it today, what makes you think you'll do it tomorrow when life throws more at you? I'll tell you something else. Person people will notice. They will feel your confidence. They will hear it in your voice. They will see it in your posture. And opportunities will be magnetized to you because success loves speed, but it also loves consistent growth. My friends, the 1% formula is not just about money. It's about becoming the person you admire, the disciplined one, the wise one, the healthy one, the one who inspires others by how they live, not just by what they say. Remember, you don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value you bring to the time. And your value is built through these daily 1% improvements. That is how you multiply your income in ways that will shock you, your family, and your entire generation. So I challenge you today, become a 1% person. Plant the seed, water it daily. Watch your life, your income, and your influence multiply into a forest of abundance that will feed not just you, but everyone around you. Because as Earl Schuff told me, success is something you attract by the person you become.